Imagine it's a Tuesday morning. The alarm goes off at 6:30 a.m, but for the first time in 10, 15 or 20 years, you don't have to hit snooze. You aren't mentally preparing for the commute down the M1 or the packed train into Wynyard or Flinders Street. Instead, you head to the kitchen, pull a fresh shot of espresso, and open your banking app. You aren't checking to see if your boss finally processed your pay, you're looking at a dividend payment from a Vanguard or BetaShares ETF that just landed. That one payment, it just covered your mortgage for the month. And the best part, you didn't trade a single hour of your life for it. G'day everyone, I'm Luke. Welcome back to Luke Invest Australia. Today we're moving past the get-rich-quick noise and looking at the cold hard maths of freedom in Australia. Most Aussies are stuck in a work-spend-tax loop. We earn a decent crust, but by the time the ATO, the landlord and Coles have taken their cut, there's not much left. But what if I told you that replacing your salary isn't a pipe dream for the top 1%? It's actually just a numbers game. Today, I'm going to show you exactly how much you need invested to walk away from your job forever. We're going to break it down by salary from 60k to 250k, and I'll show you why your freedom number might actually be much lower than you think. Let's look at the reality of the Aussie worker in 2026. According to the ABS, the average full-time worker is pulling in roughly $100,000 a year before tax. On paper, six figures sounds like you've made it, but we all know the Aussie tax is real. Between the skyrocketing cost of a meat pie and the interest rate hikes on our massive mortgages, that 100 grand feels more like 50 grand did a decade ago. The problem isn't necessarily how much you earn, it's the source of the income. If you stop working, the money stops. That's not wealth, that's a high-paying treadmill. To get off the treadmill, we need to understand the 4% rule. This is the gold standard for retirees in the FIRE community, financial independence, retire early. It suggests that if you withdraw 4% of your total investment portfolio each year adjusted for inflation, your money should last you 30 years or more. In Australia, we actually have a cheat code that makes this rule even more powerful: franking credits. When Aussie companies pay you dividends, they've often already paid 30% tax on those profits. As a retiree with lower taxable income, the ATO often sends that 30% back to you as a refund. This means a 4% withdrawal in Australia can feel more like 5 or 6% in your pocket. Let's get into the nitty-gritty. I've crunched the numbers for different salary brackets. Remember, we are looking to replace your after-tax income because that's what actually hits your bank account. Tier 1, the 60k earner. If you earn 60k, your take-home pay is roughly $51,000. To replace that, using the 4% rule, you need $1.275 million invested. Luke's tip: don't choke on that number. If you're 30 years old and you invest just $800 a month into a diversified ETF, compounding will do the heavy lifting to get you there by your late 50s. Tier 2, the average Joe, $100,000 earner. The average Aussie earns 100k and takes home about $76,500. Your freedom number is $1.91 million. This is where people usually give up. They think, I'll never see $2 million. But here's the secret. Your superannuation is already doing half the work. If you're 35 and earning this much, your employer is pumping 11.5% into your super. With decent returns, your super alone could account for 1.2 million of that goal by the time you're 60. You just need to bridge the gap for the years before you can access it. For the high flyers, at 150k salary, you take home 107k. You need $2.67 million. At 250k salary, you take home 165k. You need $4.1 million. Now, if you're looking at these numbers and thinking, Luke, I'm never going to have $4 million, stay with me, because now we talk about the lifestyle adjustment. Here is what the banks and the media don't tell you. You do not need to replace your salary. You need to replace your expenses. Think about your current life. When you go to work, you pay for commuting, fuel, tolls, Myki or Opal cards, work clothes and dry cleaning, and convenience, the $15 city salad because you didn't have time to prep lunch. And most importantly, you're currently saving for retirement. Once you're retired on your investments, you stop paying for work. You stop paying into super because you've already reached the finish line. Your tax bill also drops because investment income is taxed much more favorably than a high salary. If you earn 100K but you only actually spend 60K to live a great life, your real freedom number isn't 1.9 million, it's 1.5 million. That's a $400,000 difference. In the world of investing, that represents roughly 5 to 7 years of your life. Would you rather work an extra 7 years to maintain a salary you don't even spend, or would you rather have those 7 years back to spend at the beach or with your grandkids? So, how do we actually build this Aussie Freedom Fund? There are 3 pillars we use here at Luke Invest Australia. 1. Maximize the super cheat code. In Australia, super is the most tax-effective way to build wealth. Talk to your employer about salary sacrifice. Putting extra money into super before it gets taxed at your high marginal rate is like giving yourself an instant 15 to 30% return. 2. The bridge portfolio. Because you can't touch super until you're 60, you need an outside super portfolio. This is where you buy low-cost diversified ETFs, think things like VAS, Aussie Top 300, or VGS International. You want to be dollar-cost averaging, investing a set amount every single month, whether the market is up or down. 3. Kill the bad debt. You cannot out-invest a 22% interest rate on a credit card. Before you start buying ETFs, clear the personal loans and the plastic. It's a guaranteed return on your money. Here is your homework for tonight. Don't just watch this video and go back to scrolling. Open your banking app, add up your actual expenses for the last 3 months. Multiply that by 4 to get your annual cost of living. Divide that number by 0.04. That result? That is your freedom number. Write it down, put it on your fridge, make it the wallpaper on your phone. Because the moment you have a target, your brain stops seeing money as something to blow on a new iPhone and starts seeing it as ammunition for your freedom. The people who retire early in Australia aren't the ones who earn the most. They're the ones who started today, kept their lifestyle simple, and let the magic of the Aussie market do the rest. If you want more deep dives into Aussie investing, superannuation, and how to reach freedom faster, make sure you hit that subscribe button and give the video a like. It really helps the channel grow. I'm Luke, this is Luke Invest Australia. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.